agenda as amended.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Eubanks, second by Mr. all in favor.
6-0, motion carries.
Do we have any report of any standing committee? We have no public hearing. Then we have Mr.
First thing I'd like to do, I see Ms. Carpenter, Andy Carpenter is with us this evening. She is the leader of the library, and I want to congratulate her on the event we had recently for the 20th anniversary of the Florence Lauderdale Public Library. It was an outstanding event, wonderful video, and in particular, they recognized Mr. Jordan, who was mayor, and kind of championed that project. And I can't begin to tell you how many people talk about what a wonderful resource our public library is. And I applaud you and the innovative things you're working on. So congratulations and keep it up. Thank you. I'd like to invite Mary McDuff, our manager of our electricity department, to join me, and I have a proclamation I'd like to read. Whereas many residents in the state of Alabama enjoy the benefits of consumer-owned, not-for-profit public power, and whereas the consumer-owned electric utilities are valuable community assets that contribute substantially to the well-being of their local residents through energy efficiency, customer service, and economic development. And whereas Alabama's public power utilities serve nearly 1 million Alabamians and are part of more than 2,000 public power systems in the United States that ensure cost-cutting competition in the electric utility industry through consumer ownership to the benefit of electric customers everywhere. And whereas the City of Florence Utilities joins hands with other public power communities across Alabama and the nation to celebrate the public benefits of consumer-owned public power for our local and national progress. Now therefore be it proclaimed that I, Andrew Betterton, Mayor of the City of Florence, Alabama, do hereby take great pleasure in proclaiming October 1 through October 7 as Public Power Week.
I'll be really quick because there's a lot of people here to speak tonight, but I just want to thank the mayor and the council for their support for the electricity department. We serve all of Florence and Lauderdale County, and we couldn't do it without their support. And, you know, public power is not just about us serving you with electricity, but the major part of public power is serving our communities and helping our communities in every way that we can. So I appreciate all that we're doing for everybody. Thank you.
Go ahead, let's go share a report, which is announced.
Thank you, President Jordan. Just in reference to some items on the consent agenda, I want to recognize some providers that we have in the audience tonight that will be receiving community development block grant funds to do a number of activities within the community to serve so many in our city who are in need or simply need a little extra help when the time comes. So tonight we recognize for youth services a grant to Common Ground Shoals, and with us tonight is Skylar Stewart and Fabian Cortez from that organization. You guys can wave, or you can stand up, or you can do a little dance. For health services receiving a grant, one of our longtime grantees, they do an outstanding job, is Shoals Community Clinic, and Benita McKay is with us tonight. Also for Youth Programming and Services, one of our brand-new grant recipients, and we're so excited to have them on board, the Children's Museum of the Shoals and Sion Louis. One of our other longtime grantees, and that is the Florence Housing Authority for Transportation Services. And with us tonight is Maggie Perez. Not new to the scene, but an organization that we have supported in a number of ways through other grant programs, and we're glad to have them back as a recipient of a community development block grant, and that is for Homeless Prevention Services, the Homeless Care Council of Northwest Alabama. Ashley Smith is here with them tonight. And then also receiving a grant for substance abuse services, Moms Inc. and Amy Grevins is here representing moms tonight, an outstanding organization. Also receiving a grant under Public Services for Subsistence Services, one of our longtime grantees. You heard from our customer service manager earlier, Sandy Predum, talking about the LIHEAP and the LIWAP programs. We also have programmatic funds that assist with utilities, and St. Vincent, the Society of St. Vincent de Paul does a great job managing those funds on our behalf. And with us tonight is Elizabeth Moculus with St. Vincent de Paul. And also a project that we're very excited about to participate in is the new outdoor classroom space that the Florence Lauderdale Public Library will be bringing online. What a great opportunity, not just for reading, but to get outside and enjoy all that the outdoors has to offer in conjunction with what the library already does. And the mayor recognized Abby Carpenter, and we recognize her again for her foresight and bringing that project, and we're really glad to be partners with her in that. And then lastly, with our residential rehabilitation program, managing that for us this year is another longtime grantee that we are pleased to partner with in a number of ways, and this is just one of them, and that is the Community Action Agency of Northwest Alabama. So thank you all of you that are here with our public services, but also to the council and to the mayor for their support of community development programs, and as well as to those public service providers that do the things that government isn't designed to do, and we're really glad to be with them in their efforts. Thank you.
Do we have any reports from any other department heads? Do we have any standing committees? We have no public hearings. At this time, we ask anyone from the floor 5 minutes. Out of the consent of regular agenda. We'll, as I mentioned, we'll start in this section. Anybody in this section will speak anything on this agenda. Not in the stuff.
Thank you, President Jordan, to the council. Billy Ray Simpson, 755 West Alabama Street, Florence. I want to speak briefly on a consent item, the resolution to approve a contract with the Homeless Care Council of Northwest Alabama in the amount of $1,000 to provide services to prevent homelessness or assist those who are homeless, to be paid from the approved Community Development Action Plan, sponsored by Melissa Bailey. You can give without loving, but you can't love without giving. We have a gracious council, mayor, that's always thinking about giving graciously to those that are in need for one reason or another. A lot of times we don't know things that are doing good, but we rally behind people that want to do bad. Miss Melissa Bailey finds money, and she brings things to our attention so we can have money to continue to better our city. So a big 10-4 to her again. Also, $1,000, I want you to work on getting that to $1,000 a month. I think they well deserve it. I think they do a good job. And we need people that care for the people they serve. And I believe they'll do a good job at putting it usually for the benefit of those, not just a handout, but a hand up. They can do better. So thank you again for everything you all do.
No. They told me I couldn't. I couldn't.
Anyone in this?
Hello, my name is David Carson. I live in Florence. The address can be verified with the police officers over there if needed. I'll keep my own time. Okay, the first thing I want to bring attention to is on the consent agenda, item P. It says to provide youth programming at Children's Museum. I was wondering exactly what are the youth going to be programmed and what with? And during the work session beforehand, it was mentioned that we have some federal obligations in this programming, I'm assuming. So I'd like to know what these federal obligations are in the programming of our youth. Second, I want to talk about during the work session, last minute Katie Randall was added to the historic preservation committee without even being on the agenda. It's not even on the agenda. You handed out after the work session. So you guys voted on it. So it's just like slip that in. You know, why can't the public, at least have a week or so to see who this person is? Okay, now on to regular agenda item A. My question is why is the cannabis facilities and short-term rental properties, what do they have to do with each other? Why are they the same item? Why are you voting on the same time? What do they have to do with each other? General business item A. The budget for the entire local government is being voted on tonight with little or no warning, without the public being able to see it until after it's been passed. Why does the budget have to be passed before the budget can be seen by the public? And I hope all the council members read this document thoroughly because this budget is going to be dissected and studied by the public more than any other budget in the past. I promise you that. That's because we didn't get to see it. So I hope you guys read it. Okay, now on to the regular agenda. Item C in regards to the change of the noise ordinance. It says, I read the ordinance. It says that no police action can be taken to the unamplified human voice. So I take it someone can literally walk up to people and scream as loud as they want and nothing can be done about it. Have you ever heard the loud screeching the folks at Project Say Something do during their rallies and marches through downtown? When people complain about not being able to enjoy their meals at restaurants downtown due to Project Say Something screaming at the top of their lungs about their hatred for the white man, I will point the finger at the vote at this council tonight. Personally, I say let them scream at random pedestrians and about how much they hate the white man. I mean it worked well last time, right? It's time the general public gets more in your face spectacles of the future to come. It's wake up time, I guess. That's all I got. Thank you.
Anyone else in this? Beer?
Go ahead.
All right, so I'm here to get y'all on short-term rentals again. I've done my research a little bit more. If Code of Florence, Appendix C, zoning, chart of permitted uses for the city of Florence, Alabama. Before you approve short-term rentals in July, I'm assuming that you fell under, but of course assuming, you know what that does. But it was under the bed and breakfast, permitted in R1 and R2 zones located within a historic building and/or historic district as listed on the national or state register with BZA approval. These things were hard to read because there was no key. I had to call several people to find somebody that knew what the heck the X meant. What it meant was, you can't do it in R1 and R2 unless you're in the historical district. So, that's not allowed in neighborhoods that are in the historical district until you guys approved it in July. So, I was correct. Anything between then and before for the past 10 years is illegal. Whoever gave them the business license or whatever license they were looking for needs to be retrained, reassigned, or perhaps fired. I don't know. But they definitely need some training. Okay, the policy should have been that they only have to be in the historical district. I'm asking you, not demanding, I'm not gonna do that to you. I'm gonna ask you to reverse your short-term rental policy and that you did the action to make it legal to do, and take it back. Do away with it. Keep it in the historical district like it has been. Like I said, the ordinance says bed and breakfast, but that's what somebody bounced on for short-term rental. You know, Mr. Edwards, you prayed for people to make the best decisions for our city. I pray y'all make that too. You know, come next election, I don't know if y'all will all be up here or not. Nobody knows that. But I hope you will do right by the city, its citizens, and do away with short-term rentals in residential 1 and 2. The people that have been operating, fine them, charge them money, take it back. It's illegal. Please see it that way and follow our laws. Thank you.
Hey, John, can we finish up right here? Quick. Anyone else in this section?
Yeah, sorry.
Go to my shoulder here. I'm Mike White, live at 4704 Chisholm Road, Florence. I'm up here about number 12, the regular agenda, the budget. The face has changed, but the problem remains the same. Just because a budget has always been passed before any of the citizens have a chance to look at it, doesn't mean it's right. Especially when a citizen goes and makes a FOIA request of the city clerk's office and told that he can't have it. You can't have the upcoming budget. No. Hadn't been looked over by the council yet. That was 3 days ago. 3 days ago. Okay. So if all of you got a chance to look at the budget you're gonna vote on tonight, I'm just wondering, makes you wonder. Just because it's always been done that way doesn't mean it should always be. Why can't a valve, and I'm sorry, I've got a lot of gray hair, but the thing where you go online and look at it and you click on the thing and it'll print it out for you, where we can all see where our money's going to. I'd like to know what's coming out of my left-hand pocket before you stick your hand in my right pocket myself. You know, I mean, it's kind of ridiculous here. We pay the highest retail sales tax in North Alabama. We pay our higher retail sales tax than Huntsville. And we don't deserve to know where our money goes? Something's wrong with this setup. And just because it's always been done that way, doesn't mean it always has to be done that way. That's all I got. Thank you.
Anyone else in the section? If not, John?
John Hicks, 237 Roxy Drive. I know these questions are rhetorical, treat them as being rhetorical because I know you can't answer, it's just a speech. Of course, all of this is a facade right here, and this is regarding short-term rentals. We know that you voted in September, and the measure was defeated, so what do? You just go at it again, you're gonna get it done, you're gonna shove this down our throats, even though the majority of voters don't want short-term rentals in their neighborhoods. This is a clear illustration that you don't care what your constituents think. All of those phone calls, all of those emails, all of the opposition, yet you're gonna do it anyway. I know it and you know it. And it's a shame, quite because you don't listen to what we have to say. You're representing the interest of really the tourism board, private investors, local realtors in the area who stand to profit from this. It was stated in the Times Daily recently that the tourism board has actively been encouraging citizens to open short-term rentals since 2017. What does this mean? It means you've been colluding with the tourism board since this time. Yet the tourism board is not composed of elected officials. They represent their own interests. They don't speak for me. For the last 6 to 7 years, the city council, the mayor, and those in the building department have refused to enforce the R1 ordinance, while the tourism board encourages violating that same ordinance. That's not just lacking in your job, it's refusing to do it. You turn your heads and allow this to happen. You wanted the numbers to grow, and now you claim ignorance and say, oh, there are just so many of these things, we don't know what to do but to grant permits. You're going to reward rich investors for violating the ordinance by granting them permits while you penalize your constituents. You know, those folks that voted you into office. See, when you move to a city, its ordinances are supposed to provide certain protections: privacy, safety, stable property values. By granting permits, you will greatly diminish these guaranteed protections. How is violating my right to private privacy a benefit? Explain that to me. How is making my family, my children, my neighborhood less safe a benefit? Explain that to me. How is destabilizing my property value a benefit? Granting permits will create a great deal of unwanted nuisance activity in the form of increased daytime and nighttime traffic, creating congestion and safety concerns. We have a neighborhood pool, a neighborhood playground, a school, and even a church. Kids walk to bus stops, wait for their ride. Kids get off buses to walk home after school, walking to the pool, walking to the park. I'm just going to say this one time. Lots and lots of kids and lots of strangers do not mix. This council looks to monetize the issue and claim a financial benefit, but does not consider our quality of life. You don't consider our privacy, you don't consider our safety. On top of all this, short-term rentals will destroy the fabric of what a neighborhood is meant to be. By granting permits, this council will make the wealthy wealthier. And I think I know why you're so adamant about passing this. It's really because you have no choice. Basically, some of you are covering your butts, and you know that you are. Some on this council have been quietly telling investors for the past 6 or 7 years to just go ahead and open short-term rentals. How do I know this? Well, it's been cited in the Times Daily. The Times Daily interview cites a lady from Texas quoted as saying she went to several city officials, and not one of them could find any reason why she could not open not just one, but 2 short-term rentals in an R1. Then, in another Times Daily article, it quotes city officials as saying, get this, we know short-term rentals are in violation of the R1 ordinance and we're looking for solutions.
You have 1 minute remaining.
Do you know what this means? It means some of you are liars. Which of you fit this description? I think I'll let you decide. And I'm just going to jump down right here and say that in our neighborhood, we conducted a ballot with the aid of an attorney, and that attorney helped to draft a ballot that was sent by mail to everyone in our subdivision. Let's see, to vote for or against short-term rentals. 63% of the lot owners in my subdivision cast ballots, and of that majority, 93% voted against short-term rentals, while only 7% voted for them. I think that these numbers speak louder than words. Thank you.
Anyone else in this section? Kevin, you? Oh, you have to wait till the end. You need to wait till the end. I'm sorry. Anyone else? Go ahead.
All matters listed within the consent agenda have been distributed to each member of the Florence City Council for reading and study. Are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion of the council with no separate discussion. If separate discussion is desired, that item may be removed from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda by request.
I hear a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second. All in favor of the motion?
6-0, motion carries. Item A under the regular agenda is an ordinance to amend the zoning ordinance to add definitions for medical cannabis facilities and short-term rentals to the chart of permitted uses, sponsored by Melissa Bailey. This ordinance did not receive a unanimous vote for immediate consideration at the first meeting or the last meeting in September. A vote for adoption is all that is needed at this time.
I hear a motion for adoption.
So moved.
I'll second the motion. Any discussion?
Yes, sir. This has been an emotional decision here about this particular topic. I know I've had many people call me at home, and I've gotten emails about it. And I always end those phone calls with, do you really think that I would do something that was detrimental to my own neighborhood? And also, do you think I would do something that would be detrimental to family and friends' neighborhoods? I talked to many people about this particular thing weeks ago, and we did not vote in July to approve short-term rentals. We voted for regulations on short-term rentals, which is what tonight is about. And I think we tried to explain that. I mean, I've done it till I've got a headache from it. And that's what tonight is about. It's about defining what short-term rentals are so we can add some teeth to the regulations to prevent the very things that people are fearing, the noise, any other problem. I talked to the chief of police, have we had any issues with these? He said we've had 2 issues. Well, then you can tell the chief that he's a liar. But I mean, I don't think he told me he resolved both of them within a matter of 24 hours, and those people have been in compliance since. Short-term rentals have been allowed for nearly 10 years. We're just trying to keep the neighborhoods safe. We hear what you're saying. I mean, I don't think anybody would want one next door to them, okay? I get it, especially one that's rowdy and causes problems. But what we're doing is trying to add teeth to these regulations so we can protect your neighborhoods. And I'm going to shut up and end it again. Please believe me, I would never vote yes on something that was going to be harmful to our neighborhoods.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor of the motion?
6-0, motion carries.
So it's illegal. Well, they're voting for it, but it's illegal if they were bringing it on regulations.
I don't give a shit.
Item B is an ordinance amending Chapter 15 of the Code of Florence, Alabama regarding noise, sponsored by Bill Musgrove. This ordinance did not receive a unanimous vote for immediate consideration at the 9/19/23 council meeting. A vote for adoption is all that is needed at this time.
Do I hear a motion to adopt this resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Eubanks, second by Mr. Griffin. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the motion?
6-0, motion carries.
You got your photo op, you can leave.
Item C is an ordinance to provide for the issuance of one subordinated water and sewer revenue warrant, Series 2033-CWSRF-DL of the City of Florence in the principal amount of $7,595,000, sponsored by Mike Doyle.
Do I hear a motion for immediate consideration?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made in consideration, Ms. Eubanks, second by Mr. Oliver, all in favor of the motion?
6-0.
Do I hear a motion for adoption? Any discussion? Go ahead.
Yes. I did want to make it very clear, we had a very robust discussion during the work session related to the fact that this is not going to be, this is going to be an important thing that we are using. There's $4.7 million that will be outstanding from this, and that will be left to do some other very much needed work on the derelict system that we have in our community.
Thank you. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor of the motion?
6-0, motion carries.
We can rewatch it.
Item D, which was added at the work session, is an agreement, escrow agreement on the City of Florence and the Lauderdale County Agricultural Center Authority and the Abstract and Title Company of Florence, that be approved, ratified, and confirmed, sponsored by Bill Musgrove.
Do I hear a motion for immediate consideration?
So moved.
Second.
Motion for immediate consideration, Mr. Griffin, second by Ms. Eubanks. All in favor of the motion?
6-0.
Do I hear a motion for adoption?
So moved.
Motion for adoption, Ms. Eubanks, second by. Any discussion?
I want to go with
All in favor of the motion?
6-0, motion carries.
What was that for, the water? Is that for this?
Item A under general
Yeah.
business is a resolution to approve the general fund budget for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2024, sponsored by Mayor Betterton and Shayna Balch.
Do I hear a motion for immediate consideration?
So moved.
This is millions of dollars, Harry.
Motion made in consideration, Mr. Griffin, second by Mr. Edwards. All in favor of the motion?
Millions of dollars, just right.
6-0.
See ya.
Do I hear a motion for
Second.
motion, Madam Mayor? Eubanks. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion?
Oh, well, we'll
6-0, motion carries.
Excuse me. I'm back. Dissect. With my Terry.
Is it too late to add something to that about the budget? I just want to say, I would like to see us in the future have that posted somewhere so the public could look at it beforehand. I think that would be the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
When the finance committee goes over, I told Ms. Oliver, we can be glad to folks. So the council will see. Do it right here.
Item B is a resolution to approve the special fund projects budget for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2024, sponsored by Mayor Betterton and Shayna Balch.
Do I hear a motion for immediate consideration?
So moved.
Second.
Motion for immediate consideration on Mr. Griffin, second by Ms. Eubanks. All in favor of the
You
motion?
scratch mine, I'll scratch yours.
6-0.
Do I hear a motion for adoption?
Motion.
Second.
Motion adopted. Mr. Oliver, second by Mr. Griffin. All, any discussion? Not all in favor of the motion?
Slusher, that's who that is.
6-0, motion carries. Item C is a resolution to approve the solid waste fund budget for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2024, sponsored by Mayor Betterton and Shayna Balch.
I hear a motion for immediate consideration.
Second.
Mr. Oliver, second by Ms. Eubanks. All in favor of the motion?
6-0.
Do I hear a motion for adoption?
So moved.
Motion for adoption by Ms. Eubanks, second by Mr. Griffin. Any discussion? Not all in favor of the motion?
6-0, motion carries. Item D is a resolution to amend the operating budget of the electricity department for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2024, sponsored by Mayor Betterton, Mary McDuffa, and Mark Lovejoy.
Do I hear a motion for immediate consideration?
So moved.
Second. Immediate consideration, Mr. Griffin, second by Mr. Edwards. All in favor of the motion?
6-0.
Do I hear a motion for adoption?
Motion.
Motion by Ms. Oliver, second by Ms. Simmons. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the motion?
6-0, motion carries. Item E is a resolution to amend the operating budget of the gas department for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2024, sponsored by Mayor Betterton, Mike Doyle, and Mark Lovejoy.
Do I hear a motion for immediate consideration?
So moved.
Second. Motion for immediate consideration, Mr. Griffin, second by Mr. Edwards. All in favor of the motion?
6-0.
Do I hear a motion for adoption?
Second.
Motion for adoption, Ms. Simmons, second by Ms. Eubanks. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the motion?
6-0, motion carries. Item F is a resolution to amend the operating budget of the Water and Wastewater Department for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2024, sponsored by Mayor Betterton, Mike Doyle, and Mark Lovejoy.
I hear a motion for immediate consideration.
So moved.
Do immediate consideration, Mr. Griffin, second by Mr. Edwards. All in favor of the motion?
6-0.
I hear a motion for adoption.
Second.
Motion for adoption, Mr. Simmons, second by Mr. Griffin. Any discussion?
I'd like to thank all the people that are involved in putting this together. This is what it looks like right here. A lot of work goes into this, and they're always available for questions. You know, when I go through it and see something I don't understand, I can pick the phone up and call them. I get a quick answer. So I appreciate all of you that worked hard on this.
All in favor of the motion?
What are you talking about?
6-0, motion carries.
Come on, take it. You saw how thick that book was.
Item G is a resolution for an alcohol beverage license application for the operation of an automobile self-service station and convenience foods with off-premise retail beer and off-premise retail table wine by Sri Yogi LLC.
Sri
This is
Yogi.
at Seven Point Quick Stop located at 1806 Northwood Avenue, sponsored by Robert M. Blighty.
I hear a motion for immediate consideration.
So moved.
I'll second. Griffin, make the motion. All in favor of the motion?
Sri
6-0.
Yogi, that's in
I hear
local
a
family,
motion
I'm
for
sure.
adoption.
Second.
Motion for adoption is 7, second on the G-Bank. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the motion?
6-0, motion carries. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you, Bob. We have a couple of boards. We nominated Matt Martin for reappointment to the Cedar Board, and Katrina Simmons to the Cedar Board. Also, we made a nomination for the Historical Commission, and we do have one, Lakeville Retreat Commission. This time we'll
That's a
have bids
nomination.
for the public
Okay.
with a 5-minute time limit, starting here for this section. Go ahead, Jimmy. Just go ahead, give us your name and address.
Good evening. Jim Nariki here. I live at 2110 Cloyd Boulevard. The old house with the 110-foot tall pine tree that just fell on it in July. And what I wanted to address was part of the noise ordinance. I spoke with Mr. Jordan and reviewed chapter 15 of the noise ordinance, and it does touch on the topic that I'm here today. Forgive the theatrics, but I do have quite a presentation that should begin at any moment to drive my point home. What I'm here to talk about is actually redlining and revving engines in the downtown district. I work on Court Street, right across from Heinz Tire, and I must say that the issue is quite prolific. It causes disturbances, it disrupts business, and it's frankly embarrassing. To illustrate my purpose, may or may not be set up, but I would like to at least
That's not
work with the
prophetic, I
council
don't know what it
on promulgating or editing an ordinance that is already in place to specifically focus on these issues. It's quite disruptive. In fact, when I called the police department to discuss it, the receptionist said, please give us an option or an avenue to enforce this. When I spoke with the police officer at El Polito Loco on the very subject, he gave me a story that only 2 weeks prior, someone decided to pick their significant other up from Flobana at 2 o'clock in the morning. His way of hailing his significant other was to sit there and rev for about 30 seconds. The officer opined there was little to nothing he could do about it. I believe this ordinance does cover that scenario and situation, but I think it would be appropriate to call more attention to it. So I'm not sure it's necessarily an issue of promulgation, but maybe enforcement, clarification, and training and education of those that can enforce it. So I think I graduated to being a crotchety old man by this is what keeps me up at night. But it also disrupts our meetings, our businesses, and I've heard from many business leaders. Michelle, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me earlier this week, and I understand that some wheels are already in motion, but I want to make myself available for anything I can do to help. And I appreciate the time. My office, I must admit, has labeled me anti-Reverend Jevin as of last week. So you guys are motorcycle guys. I'm sorry. It's too much downtown. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. Anyone else in this section? Senator? Anyone in this section?
Just a little slow out.
Thank you, President Jordan, to the council again. Billy Ray Simpson, 755 West Alabama Street, Florence. Fear will always try to get in the way of progress. One thing I know about this city, they don't do anything without protection regulations. Some people are misinformed because they don't hear all of the story. Sometimes we got to listen more than we talk, and sometimes we have to listen to other people more than we listen to ourselves. So this council, for 20 years since I've been coming down here, they've been doing the same thing. I've seen councils come and go and mayors, but the reason why you're here because someone had confidence in putting you here. And don't let nobody run you off. Again, my friend David, he come up here with the same old story, the same old, like everybody bad but him. I'm a ambassador with the Florence Police Department. I was appointed by Ron Tyler. Also, I read Deputy Sheriff. I was appointed by Sheriff Singleton. Got another one now. I was asked to participate and monitor the protest downtown when Camille and Project Say Something was protesting. They did a wonderful job. I didn't see them break any ordinance. And even when they need to know something to continue to do what they believe was their right to do, they would ask. I was there. Now, when the counter protesters came, Dave and his rednecks came, they tried to start trouble. They don't have no proof. They say they got proof, they got video, they don't. And he was just misrepresenting the truth. I'm not gonna call him a lie.
You already did.
Did it? Sorry about that. But he's a lie. Say it again. Some people didn't hear you. But please, don't listen to this guy, because all he does is
I got a
try to
plan.
start trouble. Thank you again for listening to me.
That's actually defamation, so I'm gonna handle it.
Good evening to each and every one of you. My name is Wesley Thompson, 308 Hickory Drive, Muscle Shoals, Alabama, but a native of Florence, which my heart and passion still stands here in this city. I stand before you as a faith and civic leader in this community. Since 2017, I have personally supported the informative, diligent, peaceful efforts of Project Say Something to bring what is a necessary, educated, and a righteous counter to the Confederate monument that has hovered feet above our citizens and visitors of this community each and every day for 120 years. A monument that symbolizes hate, bigotry, and prejudice evident by the racist rhetoric expressed in the dedication speech, in which a copy is available for all eyes to read for themselves. Black citizens, along with white allies, have partnered with Project Say Something since 2017 in efforts that have included the construction of a statue of a local and national hero that addressed God, and the relocation of the Confederate monument to a correct, appropriate place such as a memorial at the city cemetery. These and other efforts have been met with unmannered repudiation by county leaders and unbalanced rationale by city leaders. But through it all, Project Say Something has been patient, peaceful, and persistent in getting something done. Most recent being petitioning for a marker or mural on city property that is in close proximity to the Confederate monument. This marker would address the racist rhetoric of the Confederate monument in ways that speaks truth to our dark, ugly past history, but while also at the same time calling us as a community to the challenge of a better present and future. This requires and demands partnership with the city of Florence. It cannot happen without you. Myself, along with other clergy, join with Project Say Something to insist that the city honor your commitment to racial justice by creating this marker, and that leaders of this effort have a seat at the table speaking of past truths to help push us to future promises. One of my mantras is that you may not be able to do everything, but you can do something. And we're just asking you all to help us with this one something that I believe, again, will be and is a fair counter to what we've been pushing to just bring awareness to. Thank you.
Good evening, Council. My name is James Rowell Jr. I live at 205 Roxy Drive, Florence, Alabama. I've been coming up here off and on for 3 or 4 years. In the overwhelming majority of the resident people living in R1s and R2 do not want short-term rentals. But the city of Florence, I'm a good listener. They've been dodging the issue. All been talking about is regulation and permit. It started off, we did not want short-term rental in R1, R2. So the city of Florence must have wanted it because they didn't even hear us. Thank you.
They're still over there.
Good evening. My name is Sheila Thompson. I live at 115 Turner Street, Florence, Alabama, on the west side of Florence. We had a meeting yesterday in reference to the Handy Recreation Center, and there was no resolution. Mayor Betterton was not there. Bill Jordan was not there. We need respect. We need someone to listen to us. You're trying to hand us a Band-Aid. You're trying to stick us with, hey, I'll do this a little bit on this recreation center, and it's no good. It's no good. We've been trying to work with this city council. We've been trying to work with Mayor Betterton. We've been trying to work with Bill Jordan. Bill Jordan has ignored us. Mayor Betterton has tried to pat us on the shoulder. We need you to come, speak with us. We're ready to talk to you on how we need to address the recreation center. It was built in 1954. I believe Royal Recreation Center was built in 1954. They've got the Olympic-sized pool, tennis courts. We don't have that. We don't have opportunities for our kids to come up there and study. It's nasty. It's filthy in there. And you're talking about remodeling, but you're not remodeling. You just redo it here, redo that, and we'll accept that. We are trying to build a bridge. You've got the, what is that place called? Sports Springs. UNA on the other side. You're trying to do us like you did Stewart Springs. Take over our property. Take us out the way. We're not going anywhere.
That's right.
We demand that you listen to us, talk to us, and work with us. That's all I have to say.
Well, 5 minutes. I spoke with Mr. Edwards yesterday and told him I'd try to get this down to 5 minutes. I agree with the Hanby thing. I don't know what's stalling everybody. I'm Leslie Vale and I live in Mr. Edwards' district, 35633. Okay, this is about 5G. This is about October 4th, tomorrow. And this is about smart meters, radiation. I spoke with my neighbors, none of them knew that FEMA is going to be doing a testing from 1:20 tomorrow until 2:20 tomorrow or later, could go on later. They're gonna use 5G across America all at one time. That is radiation. 5G cooks things. 5G is not needed by people. 5G is not needed by iPhones. 4G handles every single function we need.
But what is needed, who needs 5G is artificial intelligence. 6G has been created and possibly 7G. We don't know what's hanging on the towers. This is very dangerous. I encourage everybody to do something with unplug your Wi-Fi, unplug your television, because they're gonna send out signals, they're gonna send out things possibly, I mean, I wish I could trust our federal government, I wish I could trust all government. But could they deposit something with a signal to your phone? Are they trying to establish a tracking system? Do they want to locate people? I don't know. You know, we can go down rabbit holes, but I don't want to do that. So I just had, Mrs. McDuffa just had my meter changed back to an analog, because radiation is not any good for anybody. And we suffer with it everywhere we go. There's not a malady that people have that radiation does not cause at apparently whatever frequency. 18 gigahertz will release for three, I think it's 3 pulses, it will release something in our bodies, a payload, that if people got the vaccine recently, if people bought Benadryl, if people had anything, we have been being poisoned. There is barium, aluminum, and several other that they found in the soil that should not be there. It's in our food. We're being poisoned. So hydrogel in Novocaine. Hydrogel is what has these pathogens, Marburg, Ebola, and I can give you websites, I can give you doctors to listen to, Todd Callender, Jane Ruby, Mrs. Anna Mahelcha. They look on these vials, they study them, and they see what's actually in them. We're being poisoned. So it will release a Marburg virus if the 18 gigahertz is pulsed 3 different times. And Marburg is it's a hemorrhagic fever, Ebola, where your body hemorrhages. Okay. In 2019, they changed the doctor's manual to say, we have a new vaccine for this, but before that, it used to be fenbendazole, albendazole, something you can get for your dog. It's an anti-parasitic thing. So I just encourage people, be prepared. Just be prepared. So I think you need to give everybody a choice whether to go back to the normal meters instead of the analog, instead of the smart meters. And I was told by Mrs. McDuffa that you're going to be having, in a couple of years, you're going to be having meters that are AEI or AMI, one of the two, that will directly report to the utility company via cell towers. More radiation, and it cuts out the jobs of those people who drive by and collect the information.
You have 1 minute remaining.
Everybody, minutes up?
You got 1 minute
Okay.
remaining.
So I just encourage you to not spend that money on those meters. Put it toward the HB Handy. What a great place to put it. Invest it in the citizens and protect yourself tomorrow. And if they don't do it tomorrow, they're going to do it next Wednesday. Thank you.
Just gonna go.
My name is Camille Bennett, and I'm the founder and executive director of Project Say Something. I prefer not to give my address. I want to express gratitude for the ability to peacefully and safely protest in the city. Thank you for coming to a settlement. Contrary to popular belief, when we protested, we were a diverse group of individuals, Black, white, Asian, children, we all came together. And at some points, it was over 700 people protesting with us in the city. October 13th of 2020, the City Council made a resolution to relocate the Confederate statue, and 3 years later, we have no clear path forward. The monument is now under the complete control of the county commissioners, and y'all know it could take us years to get that thing relocated. You still have power. The story does not end here, and you have the power to denounce the racist rhetoric that was said when the monument was erected in 1903. Dr. D.A. Moody said at the ceremony that they look upon a Negro as a white man with a colored skin and believe education to be the one thing needful. We of the South know better. No other people know him so well or love him so well, but nowhere here is he accorded social equality. Now, during the civil rights era, y'all relocated the monument from the old courthouse to this courthouse in around 1965, right at the heart of the civil rights movement. I think it was weeks apart from Bloody Sunday. The Florence Times called it the Eternal Vigil and said that it was erected to symbolize loyalty, patriotism, and dedication, but we black folks saw it as a symbol of intimidation. The story does not have to end here. Y'all, we have made national and international news about this monument. The largest news cycle in Japan is here right now just because of this monument. And we can look better than we do right now. If we can decide on a marker that clearly denounces the racist rhetoric of that statue on city property, close enough to the monument so the people know how we feel about it. And we need you to partner with Project Say Something. We are not a group of people, just a random group of citizens. We are a 501c3 organization, and we've seen you partner with other nonprofit organizations. We put in the work. We've worked with scholars and historians for years. We know what we're talking about, and we represent the directly impacted people. The directly impacted people of this community are Black people. That's who it affects the most. And we want our voices to be heard on that marker. So we urge you to partner with us as quickly as possible so we don't look bad on Japan's newspaper again. And let's do something positive for our community. Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is David Carson. I live in Florence, Alabama. I'll be taking my own time. I will start with a little story. Long ago, the world was once a utopia. The skies were full of rainbows, and humans all around the world were living in perfect harmony. People from all colors and cultures would spend their days holding hands and singing songs about how their differences didn't matter. Nobody fought, and people made sure everyone else had enough to live well. Then one night, evil white supremacists entered the world stage. They invented war and conflict, and the world was plunged into darkness. The evil white supremacists waged war on the peaceful peoples of the world. They invented the concept of race, and the once unified world got segregated into distinct peoples for the first time in history. For the first time, some people ended up with more than others. The perfect harmony dissolved into a world of inequality. Fear not, there's still hope. All we have to do is get rid of every white supremacist, and we can return to a utopia once more. Okay, the satire ends here. There have been plenty of people who want to paint a cartoonish version of me like I'm some evil white guy who sits at home just thinking of different ways of hating people because of their skin color. Newsflash, basically any person who doesn't hate white people is going to be called a white supremacist at some point nowadays. This is the main weapon of anti-whites. Contrary to mainstream sentiment, there is more to race than culture, than skin color, food, and music. Only the most superficial and dishonest people boil it down to that. There is shared history, customs, and general ways of going about life that are unique to the history of all peoples. There is no solution to human tribalism. You would have to destroy human nature to get rid of it. One reason we got to this point is the use of color blindness for decades in place of addressing the situation as it is. Color blindness is a fairy tale and is a cowardly way to shield oneself from the often disturbing reality of racial and cultural friction. Groups like Project Say Something exploit this weakness by employing all forms of racial blackmail on cornered leaders who do not want to step into the arena, using racially charged language until their target breaks and gives them what they demand. Luckily for our area, from what I've observed, Project Say Something is mainly loud, petulant children. Don't get me wrong, we will always have anti-white organizations prop them up and make sure they get top news story spots and unlimited legal services. However, that didn't stop them from getting outmaneuvered by a random high school dropout with some extra time on his hands. I guess they learned the hard way that tearing down statues they don't like isn't a civil right. Unfortunately, groups like Project Say Something are the future. I'm sure a more capable group will eventually take their place, and you will see what I mean by how this is the future. There will be no more hiding behind the thin facade of colorblindness to counter racial grievances. The future also includes people like me who will oppose anti-white groups if everyone else is too timid. Project Say Something having white liberals in the mix does not make them any less of an anti-white organization. There are plenty of brainwashed and/or opportunistic whites that are anti-white. It is public knowledge that the founder of Project Say Something is the daughter of a late local wealthy businessman. Remember that when she rants about oppression and inequality. As someone who actually did grow up with very little, let me tell you the first thing I learned about life is unfair. This world has always been a cruel and brutal place for most. Let's dispense with the fairy tales and accept reality on its own terms, because superficial merry-go-rounds solve nothing. It only kicks the can down the road.
Good evening, my name is Vivian Pearson. I was born and raised in Florence, Alabama. I live at 926 West College Street. And I'm here in support of the W.C. Handy Recreation Center renovations versus rebuilding. We were waiting for renovations in April of 2023. That didn't happen. It didn't happen. So now you guys telling us that you got the shovels ready. We're asking not for renovations, but we're asking that you rebuild our recreation center because of many reasons. But number one, you guys are really doing a great job around the city of Florence, building a new parking deck downtown Florence. You got a new roundabout in view. You got a $35,000 bond that you just had approved. So we're just asking that you just think about us in West Florence. Even though you have agreed to open up West College Street, does it really benefit West Side Florence or does it benefit West Florence? So with all that being said, we just want you guys to hear what we are saying. We're asking that you consider rebuilding W.C. Handy Recreation Center versus the renovations. The renovations that you guys first proposed to us have been minimized, rationalized, and everything else. We are saying to you guys that what you have proposed to us is unacceptable. I spoke with you all last week in regards to the W.C. Handy Recreation Center. We're hoping that you're hearing us. We're hoping that you will keep the bid on pause and eventually let the bid go away. I'm sorry if anybody loses. It was okay when we lost with a new logo, so it's okay. We'll make it up. I promise you that. But what I'm saying to you all is this. Consider West Florence. Our children deserve much better. Since 1954, we've been in West Florence at the W.C. Handy Recreation Center. We've watched everything go and everything come and everything be modified, but nothing happens in West Florence. So I don't know what to do to get you all to understand that we are asking for a piece of the pie. I don't know what's going on with you guys. You have secret meetings without our representative. You do things without her knowing. So we're gonna ask that you stop those kind of actions and allow her to be our representative, and allow her to be heard, and allow her to be inclusive and informed. Another thing I want to speak to you all about, you guys have took the liquor license from the compact, so I see more activity going on at John's Package Store. The noise is getting even noisier. I've spoken to John at John's Package Store, and I've asked him to calm his crowd down and to calm his noise down. He personally told me that he cannot do that. At 12 o'clock at night, at 1 o'clock at night, at 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm being disturbed with loud music that is so loud it almost bursts my windows. So I'm asking that you guys enforce the noise ordinance. Also, dilapidated buildings that are going on around the west side of Florence, I'm asking that you guys think about something. Enact some type of program that will allow people who are less fortunate than the others to have some access. Grant developments. Miss Bailey, she's really good at putting together grants and development and building and all that other stuff. I just wish she would consider those who are less fortunate, who are unable to keep their property up to par. Think about them and enact some type of programs which will help them. It can be done because I see it being done all around us. Huntsville has a great program that is going on, which is allowing them to help those who are less fortunate. So as far as the W.C. Hanley Recreation Center, I am in favor of a new rec center. I hope that you all will start to enforce your noise ordinances, and I also hope that you will take a look at the dilapidated property and also take a look at the abandoned cars that are all over the city of Florence that gives us an eyesore. I hope that you hear us, I hope you take action, and I hope and pray that we as citizens can work together. Thank you.
Hello everybody, Lee Murphy, 1125 Bradshaw Drive. I wrote this really elaborate thing with fancy words and all of that, but I don't think I'll do something I would usually do, and that's be vulnerable, open, be myself up here. So if anybody in this room probably knows me better than anyone else, it's gonna be Bill Griffin. He was my principal when I first got here from Chicago. I grew up partially. There was a mention of how much money Camille had as a kid. I was the opposite, David. I was homeless. I was getting shot at the age of 9 years old. I lost my best friend at the age of 14. Couldn't even go to his funeral because it was gang related and I was already out of the state. They feared retaliation. So what made me me by the time Bill Griffin came across me was pain. I was animated by it. It's all I could see. Nothing else. All I could see was pain. All I knew, if there was a problem, how to solve it was with my hands or with any other means, but it wasn't rhetoric. The point I'm trying to make is, now look at me. I am the deputy director of a nonprofit organization that I am very proud to work for. I don't have to struggle for anything else in my life, period. If I want it, I have it. I'm saying this not because I'm special, I'm not. I was just given an opportunity. And I really believe if you give this city an opportunity, we can grow into something special. My story is not over yet. And the story of Florence isn't over yet, by a long mile, right? So we can argue all day about what this statue represents to who, but the point is, you don't go to a football game and hear the full Star Spangled Banner. Why? Anybody know? They took out lines that were explicitly, overtly racist, and nobody complains. It's still the Star Spangled Banner. So if you contextualize that monument out there, it can still be a monument. It can still represent what you think it represents. But you need the historical context, because I heard AI mentioned here recently, truth is under attack. The concept of truth is under attack. And we need to hold on to it as much as we possibly can, and properly contextualizing what that thing means to a substantial portion of your population is important. You can no longer ignore how we feel about something that called us mongrels, that told us that we didn't even have the capacity for human subjectivity. We could not impact the world beyond our physicality. That is what was told to us in 1903, and that stain is still on that statue, and until we can do something about it, we will not progress. And all you're doing by kicking this can down the road is ensuring that it's going to be a problem for your children. That's not what any of us want. Thank you.
Good evening, council members. Good evening. Ricky Cole, Julian Avenue, Florence, Alabama. I've been listening for the last hour and a half. I've heard some good things, and I've heard some troubling things. And I don't think we really realize that the human aspect of existence, we are more privileged than anything because we have the ability to communicate through the voice. We can talk. Animals don't have that ability to articulate and get their points across as human beings do. And I applaud Mr. Knuth for his efforts there. Very touching. What I did hear, and I want to share with you, I did hear a young man get up and say he wanted to give a story. Well, I've got the words of a story, which is actually a presentation, part of the unveiling of the monument, which is why I stand here in support of Project Say Something. It's always pleasant to look into the face of a friend. But when it's not one, but thousands of friends, then the pleasure becomes an inspiration to touch with the fire of eloquence the lips of the dumb. That's the opening statement of the address that was made for the monument that sits in front of Lauderdale County Courthouse. That's the opening statement. It goes on down 3/4 of the way before it finishes, and it says, when the highest representation of Northern civilization invites the highest representation of Negro civilization to sit at his table as a social equal, he digs a gulf between us, too wide and deep for us to go to them or for them to come to us. That's 3/4 of the way down 120 years ago, where public assembly wasn't as it is today, where there were quite possibly no Negroes in the assembly to hear that being said. But each of us, if you've lived here long enough, has gone into Lauderdale County Courthouse and passed that monument, which says that if you've got a certain color or ethnicity to you,
It doesn't
we really
say that.
don't want you here. And you just heard the young man say, I think we can do this together, the city of Florence. I heard also here tonight, and I don't think they understood what they said when they said it was that too many, where's my notes? Help me, hon. Okay, here we go. Lots and lots of kids and strangers do not mix. Lots and lots of kids and strangers do not mix. Look around you just for a moment. I don't know all of you in here, you're strangers to me. We're not all kids, but we do have at least one in the assembly. The air that we breathe is the same air. And environmental health and safety, as far as the environment, if there was something toxic in here, we'd all be in trouble. But yet we're all breathing the same air. With that being said, as the body of Christ, according to the Word of God, there is many members, but one body. And although we all may come from different backgrounds or ethnicities, we all breathe the same air.
You have 1 minute remaining.
We all bleed the same color blood. And when it's all said and done, we all serve the same God, regardless to how you feel about the eternal God, our Father. Lastly, My friend and co-laborer in the vineyard, Pastor Wesley Thompson, said, there is a necessity, and I want to challenge Mr. Oliver and Mr. Jordan to help Project Say Something peacefully do something about that monument which sits out in front of Lauderdale County Courthouse, simply because of the wording and simply because it's just time to do something about it as a community, as a body of people, and above all, as children of God. Thank you.
Here, sit right here.
Not quite, 4704, Chisholm Road. You didn't mention whether you were a preacher or not, but I'd be glad to go to your church on Sunday. I'd be proud to sit in your pew. We've got somebody over here who loves to tell everybody he's a preacher. Everybody.
Be careful.
Everybody to listen to him. I'm a preacher. I'm the Reverend Billy Ray Simpson. How many times have I heard that? But, well, actually, get up here. Let me do a little background, because I'm out DJ in this myself. First of all, in 2018, I was on the steering committee for the Democratic Party of the shows. I know about as much of getting involved into politics, right and left, as you can in this area. To actually stand up here and call that young man right there a redneck and a liar does not look good upon you as a reverend. Okay, let me run my little background with this young man. I didn't know him from Adam's house cat, except I watched all the goings on 2018. I didn't go to any of them, but I watched them live streamed. I watched them on TV. I watched the people, and I was all for it. I was all in back of PSS, all for it. Project Say Something. Yes. Okay. David comes along after they had the whole debacle about couldn't get past the county. The county commissioners weren't going to give y'all an inch, supposedly. That's why you still got your statue down there, if you want to look it up. But that's the whole reasoning that I've heard. But anyway, David here started taking a camera around to every venue, every meeting that was held in this city, and broadcasting and putting them on Facebook. And I was learning things that went on in the city that I never knew went on. And I followed the goings on in this city since I got out of college in 1978. When they first broadcast it in 1991, I watched it on TV, Channel 3. It was never missed, 5 o'clock, every other Tuesday. You know, I would go out to my parents' house, Roxy Drive, sit there and watch it with my dad so he could cuss at the TV screen because he loved it. But anyway, we never missed it. David started recording everything. Well, it's long gone off of TV. What few people, there may be 300, 400 watching us tonight. That's nowhere near the amount of people that used to watch this on Channel 3. You don't have a newspaper that reports on it anymore.
Nope.
Did any of you see anything in today's Times Daily about there's going to be a budget hearing tonight?
Nope.
They're going to pass a budget? No, you did not. Where is Bernie Dolinsky, by the way? He's supposed to be your designated reporter for the Times Daily. Who? They don't even know who he is. I mean, that's your newspaper for you, but print media is the way of the past. Anyway, back to you.
He watching it on video.
Yeah, he's watching on video. Back to you. I've never heard, and I got to know him pretty well.
Hey, you need to stop.
You have 1 minute remaining.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. I'll point up here. I've never heard David, and I pointed to David. I've never heard David use the N-word. You just said redneck.
You better not use it.
I'm not about to. Is it not the same thing?
Hey,
What you gonna do?
Y'all need to quit talking like the boys can go ahead and finish your.
Oh, okay, I'll be glad to. Well, since, you know.
If you don't have something wrote down, you're gonna get.
Back to him, but anyway.
I'm just telling you.
That's my whole point, is, you know, some people get respect and some people deserve respect. But to deserve respect, to get respect, you gotta deserve respect. And not all people who want respect are gonna get it. Like,
My name's Diane Cloudis. I'm born and raised in Florence, Alabama for 66 years. Right now, I reside in Mag 2 down here, and everybody's looking forward to our street party up down there. So, I was born on Shade Avenue. I moved out in the county for a while, Wilson School area. I've lived on the east side, now I live over on the west side. I was going to Bradshaw when they started busing students from Burl Slater over there. I remember everybody piling in on, I remember the race stuff at Bradshaw. I do. I was on the track team. That was one thing that was lucky for me. Priscilla Buford, Deborah Fuqua, they made sure everybody knew I wasn't racist. I run track with them. Wasn't near as fast, but I did run track with them. And I've been here in this city my whole life. The only things I want to say, and I just want to put some background back there. I'm a poor white woman now, living down here, so, you know, I'm good. But I'm happy. I'm grateful for everything I have. I'm grateful to be born and raised in this town. But the only thing I wanted to address was, for one thing, the noise ordinance. I've heard some other things come up that it doesn't have to do with just protesting. You know, it'd be nice if some of these stereos, automobiles, everything else could just, you know, be enforced that they stay quieter. The music in there. And the other thing is, as far as the statue, I don't know about getting something down there around the statue to kind of present the other side. I think it should be well thought out, well drawn out, and if that's what's approved. But as far as the statue, everything's been blamed on the city council or the county. 2017, there was a law passed. Any Confederate statue over 40 years old could not be moved. And anytime they say it's your fault or it's the county's fault for the reason it's not taken down, no, it's because our city officials are not going to break the law because of bullying, intimidation, this sort of stuff. They want to do something, they can go change the law. Go to Montgomery, get with your representatives, go down there and get that law changed. Then you can do it legal. Not sitting there trying to entice y'all to break the law, entice the county to break the law, to just get it removed. I don't know about putting something else down there. Sounds like it could be a good idea. I just had a feeling it's going to be long ago to get it just right, because it needs to be done, but it needs to be done right. But I just wanted to say I just hate that y'all are beat up, the county's beat up, because y'all are just law-abiding citizens. And anybody that tries to encourage any of our elected officials to break the law, as far as I'm concerned, they're not good citizens of Florence. That's all I got to say.
Just general shit.
Okay, Jimmy, I'm gonna have to say that I really liked that you thought it was a great idea to put the budget out where people could see it sooner. So thank you for speaking up on that. That was a great thing. Now, I do want to address, I was reading some of the things on the agenda, and it was like a lawsuit and paying people for some things that I thought maybe our city had an employee that could do it. So I do want to make sure that we're not paying for something we're already paying for. And lawsuits, seems like that's the way to get y'all's attention, but I certainly don't want to do that. Maybe with people being able to yell at you really loud on the street will affect our tourism, and we won't have any, so we won't have short-term rentals. But, you know, I'm gonna ask
Let's
you
do it.
to show me where they were legal. Because when I read the code, it was bed and breakfast, and I was told a long time ago that that's what they based, the council based the short-term rentals on. So I want that shown to me. Where was it legal? And I understand that you're trying to put teeth to it, and you think that you are protecting people, but the way to protect us is don't have them in R1 and R2. You know, my mom has lived on our street for over 50 years. This is the home that she and my father built to where they would end their life in. With y'all's vote of allowing this in R1 and R2, with what you say is teeth, it's ruined it. We've got 2 up the street from us now. One had gotten a cease and desist from someone in the government a few years ago. So I know that they're not legal until y'all voted on them recently. So, well, till tonight, I guess. So I hope that you will think about this, that we can read the law together and the ordinance together, because I could not find anywhere where it was illegal except for the historic district. You know, maybe I should have demanded it of y'all tonight. I don't know, that seems to get action out of y'all sometimes. So, somebody get with me on where the ordinance is that makes it legal. I saw several people crying in here at the last meeting. A woman cried to one of the members that she doesn't feel safe in her own home. Isn't that sad? That's pitiful. And, you know, we talked about stranger danger when I was growing up and everything.
Okay.
The last time we were here, there was a lady that spoke that on the west side, that they were building the walking trail behind her house. And so now there were gonna be strangers behind her house walking on this walking trail. Maybe you need to look and build a buffer of some kind, or not put the walking trail in a residential area. You know, I don't know what to do about that, but I know there are options to do to keep that woman safe in her home too. And I'm sure other men might not feel safe in their homes either now. You know, I hope and pray that nobody builds one next door to y'all or buys one and puts one up, a short-term rental by y'all. Because it's not a good situation. There are cars everywhere, boats everywhere in our neighborhood, and it's not safe. It's not okay. And it wasn't okay by our ordinance unless y'all can show me something different. And then the last thing, well, next to last.
I think I'm leaving town tomorrow afternoon, so I don't get sad with whatever the fuck that other
Y'all are gonna be looked upon when something happens to somebody, you know, and I'm not saying that there's gonna be a crime, that there's gonna be a murder or anything like that. But if something happens to someone, especially an older person or a child in the town next to an Airbnb, and it was an Airbnb client, you better believe if it was my mama, I'd be naming y'all all in the lawsuit. So,
I think I'm gonna take off.
you know, y'all give to the few at the expense of the greater good. I'm very disappointed in all of y'all, all of you, that you voted to ruin our neighborhoods. But like I said, I want to know where it was legal prior to this vote.
I'm taking off.
All right?
Thanks for coming.
Because it wasn't according